Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video, I'm going to be introducing you to my newest pet, which is not a bag, it's a sugar glider, which you're going to be able to see in a minute. But I just bought this new sugar glider, and that got me thinking that that's a really important thing that we should be talking about on this channel, is how to buy or adopt a sugar glider and how to get the most for your money and not get scammed. So be sure to subscribe to my channel for more sugar glider videos. So first I want to start off the video by introducing you to my newest sugar glider, and this is Romeo. He is a leucistic male sugar glider. He's about 6 months old, and I purchased him from a breeder. Now I would especially like to thank Spoiled Creatures for sending me this bag as well as a bunch of other sugar glider fleece products. It's toys and little bags and stuff for my sugar gliders. And for example, this bag here that she made is actually what helped get Romeo home safely. So he traveled in this bag. Spoiled Creatures has lots of sugar glider products and rat products as well as products for other pets such as dogs. So be sure to check out her links down below in the description where you can order stuff like this. She has a lot of different styles, but this Star Wars bag was definitely my favorite, as well as the Black Widow bag. So those are some of my favorites, but she has a lot of different stuff, so be sure to check that out. So Romeo just got here, so he is still a little shy, but I am going to be doing more videos about how to bond with a new sugar glider, how to bond a new sugar glider with an already existing colony and stuff like that. So be sure to subscribe to see those videos. So now let's talk about what your options are when you decide that you want to get your own sugar gliders. Now the first thing that I'm going to say is do not buy a sugar glider from a pet store. Now if you've been on my channel for a while now, you know that I am not against pet stores and that I'm not going to make some sort of video where I'm hating on PetSmart or something like that. I have way more important things to talk about. But I'm very much against people buying sugar gliders from pet stores because it's a scam. And I try to make myself relatable when I'm making these videos to help people. So I'm not going to give you some argument that don't buy from a pet store because pet stores are evil. That's not why. It's actually because you are basically throwing your money away when you're buying a sugar glider from a pet store. So I'm going to explain why it's a scam and why it is not worth your money. Now with sugar gliders, we have what is called lineage breeding, and this means that we have the family history on the sugar glider going back several generations, as far back as imports. So this means that a breeder that does lineage breeding has all of the records on their sugar gliders and therefore will know whether or not sugar gliders are related to each other. And if the sugar gliders are related to each other, they will not be bred together. So it's 2019. By now, we should all be very well aware of the fact that inbreeding is not a good thing. It's something that causes a lot of problems. And just to clarify, inbreeding means breeding animals together that are related to each other. When inbreeding happens, the gene pool is made even smaller, and therefore genetic health problems are more likely to affect the animals that are born from inbreeding. Charles Darwin actually believed that his children suffered from a lot of health problems and were very unhealthy throughout their life because he married his cousin. And we know now from a lot of research that that is in fact true. Inbreeding in humans or animals is a bad thing. Now going back to talking about pet stores do not have lineage bred sugar gliders. It might be possible that a few do, although I've never really heard of that actually happening. But for the most part, pet stores either breed their own sugar gliders with no idea of what they're doing, or they will buy sugar gliders from a mill and then resell them. Now, sugar gliders in pet stores are also extremely overpriced. So not only are you buying an unhealthy animal that's probably going to cost you lots of money in vet bills later on, you're paying way too much for it. And this is the reason that I say when you're buying a sugar glider from a pet store, you're just throwing your money away, because it is a lot of money for an animal that is going to cost you more in vet bills and probably die young. So it's a lot of money to put into what could be a short-term investment if your sugar glider ends up passing away early on. Now I mentioned that pet stores are also overpricing their sugar gliders, so let me explain more on that. Romeo is a leucistic sugar glider, I hope I'm saying that right, which like I said means he's all white with black eyes. Sugar gliders like him and other colors like mosaic cost more than regular type of sugar gliders. My sugar gliders Arlo and Bindi are your basic standard sugar gliders, and that's what they would look like in the wild. Now here locally, had I have gone to a pet store to buy a sugar glider, I would have actually ended up spending more money on a standard sugar glider than had I actually bought Romeo. So it doesn't really make any sense if you follow what I'm saying. So Romeo is lineage bred, he's neutered, he's solid white, and he costs substantially less than a sugar glider from a pet store that's going to be a standard sugar glider, no vet care, not lineage bred. So you can see that you're not getting what you're paying for when you go to a pet store. But this isn't meant to discourage you, and that's why I want to show you what your options are, what your good options are when you want to buy sugar gliders. And so there are two very good options, and that is to either go to a breeder or to a rescue to adopt. And oftentimes you will actually find that both of those two things are in the same place, because a lot of breeders will actually take in rescued sugar gliders. And so if you're having a hard time finding a rescue in your area and you do want to adopt, then I would definitely reach out to breeders and ask them if they have a pair that is available for adoption. When breeders take in rescue sugar gliders, these do not have lineage, and therefore they do try to get them adopted out to homes at a substantially smaller cost. Now, adopting a pair of sugar gliders is a really good option for a lot of people, and that is because the sugar gliders will already be bonded to each other, so that's good. If there's a male, the male will already be neutered, and they'll already have vet care and things like that, so you're not taking on the risk of bringing home animals that have parasites and things like that. That often happens when you do go to a pet store, unfortunately. Most rescues, though, are inbred, so it is important to remember that even though they are cheap up front, they could cost more later in veterinary bills due to health problems. But see, I just don't understand why someone would go to a pet store and spend more money than they should on these animals when they're inbred, they're gonna have health problems, and it's just not worth your money to end up getting scammed there. And so I hope showing people the differences between where you buy these animals will help them choose the right pets for themselves. And so it's better to just go to a rescue and get these animals that are going to be more cost effective and already have the veterinary care and everything. And then you also get help from the rescues and the breeders that are going to show you how to properly take care of these animals. So way better option than going to a pet store. My other 3 sugar gliders are rescues that I have adopted. My sugar glider Beastie that you see in some of my other videos that I've made in the past did pass away because of health issues that were related to inbreeding. So that is why I get so upset when I see people that are breeding sugar gliders that are not doing lineage breeding. Now, before we end this video, I do also want to go over the option of getting sugar gliders from a breeder and how to make sure you're going to a breeder that's a good breeder and is an ethical breeder. And so there's 2 things that you want to look for, and one is that of course they're going to be lineage bred sugar gliders. That's super important. And the second thing is that a good breeder is going to ask you a couple of questions because they really care about their sugar gliders and how you're going to be caring for them. Now, the first question that they're going to ask you is probably if you have sugar gliders, and that is because it is 2 or none. That I'm not going to get into the debate here in this video over that, but when you have sugar gliders, you have to have at least 2. So that's something that they're going to want to know, is that if you are only buying 1 from them, if you have sugar gliders already. And then 2, they're going to probably ask you if you are interested in breeding. And that is because they usually sell these sugar gliders as pets. However, some breeders do sell the sugar glider with the lineage history so that you do get the breeding rights to it. However, that does cost a lot more than just buying a pet. And so breeders will want to ask you if you're taking this animal to breed or if you're just wanting it as a pet. The third thing that they're going to ask you is what you're feeding the sugar gliders. And so that's something that's also really important. And so if they are not, asking you these 3 questions, is the sugar glider going to, be alone? Is the sugar glider going to be used for breeding? And what are you feeding the sugar glider? If they're not asking you any of that stuff, then you're probably not going with a good breeder. So don't feel upset if they are giving you all of these questions when you're trying to buy from them. They're just trying to make sure that you are going to give the sugar gliders a good home. And so the reason I say if they're not asking you all that stuff, it's probably not a good breeder, because there are plenty of people that are buying sugar gliders from pet stores and then breeding them at home, and they have no idea what they're doing. They're not lineage breeding the sugar gliders, and the sugar gliders that they have are more than likely siblings. So you want to completely avoid people like that. So make sure that the sugar glider breeder that you're going to also knows what they're doing. Another thing is that good sugar glider breeders will work with the sugar gliders from the time that they're out of the pouch. So these sugar gliders will be more used to people and easier to be handled. However, do remember that the sugar gliders are going to be used to the breeder and not you. So they do still need time to bond with you and trust you. So don't expect them to just, be perfectly fine with you immediately. They are still going to need some time to bond. And that's what I'm doing with Romeo right now. He's in the process of bonding with me and bonding with his future cage mates. So I'm going to be covering all of that in some future videos. Also, don't forget to check the description of this video for a coupon code for 10% off of all of your sugar glider products at Exotic Nutrition. All of that information will be linked down below in the description of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it helped you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also check out my sugar glider playlist for a lot more information about sugar gliders. And I will see you guys next time.